today I want to show you how to make a waffle stitch blanket or anything that you really like. Now this one is something of a labour of love. Oh, I haven't finished that bit, but we'll pull that through. So this probably represents about 100 gram balls of wool. So this is for a friend's moving in present, like the housewarming present. That's all she's going to get from us is one of these. I just need to finish it off and just, work in a few of the little bits. But this is the overall look you're going for. A really heavy, thick, warm blanket. And I'll be honest, this is actually a lot easier than you might think, first of all, looking at it. So you get a lot of quite impressive looking crochet and a lovely blanket from behind as well, but for very little cost. So as I say, quite a few balls of wool for this. I used a 4mm hook for this one, but this is just a normal double knit like you get anywhere. If you want to know the exact make that I got for this, because it is rather gorgeous, have a look on the site and I'll show you in the actual website article on it. So I'll move that over there so you can tell that's quite a lot. But what I want us to work on is actually made from cotton. So this is the Serdar Happy cotton. So this waffle stitch is enough for a little face cloth. I would suggest 2 of these would be a good size face cloth, but I wanted to kind of show you how to do it. Now on this one, this is UK hook size 4mm, USA, obviously that's an 8mm, but what I would like to tell you is that I use a 3.5mm because I'm quite like my tension isn't quite there, so I think I'll show you guys how to do that as well. But the waffle stitch, you can see already, it's quite nice. It's a thick sort of crochet for everyday use, and I've put a little hook on the end, and I'll just work that through with us later on, and I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to be mainly using trebles here, because we're using trebles UK size. Obviously American, that's just a double. So we start with our slip knot, just like that. We just pull it nice and tight. Now we're going to be working in 3s. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So for the one that I've just shown you, that's 24. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So the main thing is that we're working in 3s, and we're just pulling it through and just creating a chain. 19, 20, 21. Right, so once we've got our 21 chains, then what we need to do is add another 4, okay? And that's going to become clear in just 1 second. So 1, 2, 3, 4 more slips, okay? So then we're going to do a treble. So a treble, we hook it around, so we've got 2 yarn on the hook. Then we're going to come, not from the first one, but the second one. That's that one there, okay? So you can see the first one from the hook and the second one. So we've hooked it over, and then I'm going to pull back through, okay? So now I've got 3 on the hook. And I put it through the first 2, so I've now got 2 on the hook. And I put it through those 2 to get 1 on the hook. Okay, so chain over, or yarn over, through the top stitch of that chain, put it through to have 3 on the hook, pull through the first 2 to have 2, and pull through the last 2. Okay, we're going to do that again. Now we're going to do that into every single one of our chain. Okay, so come through the top of it, pull it back round, got 3 on the hook, pull those through, 2 on the hook, 1 on the hook. Okay, so with this video, as with all of them, if you want to, pause it, rejoin me when I get to the end, rewind it, however you want to do this, to try and make it as easy as possible for yourself to learn, okay? So what I've got is a little bit Blue Peter, a little bit here's one I made earlier, so I wanted to be able to show you in one go. Also, I wanted to show you how funky the colours are. So you really can get sort of as cool as you want to with this. Okay, so this is all the way at the end. So I'm on my very last stitch. So you can see I've put a treble into every single one of that initial chain. Okay, now what I do chain 1. Okay, so I just neatly tidy that up on the ends and then I turn it round. Okay, so we're now facing that. The first thing you're going to do when you turn this around, so this is the first row of our 2-row repeat. And what you're going to do, you're going to do a treble into the very base, into the V of that little extra one that you put in. So you've got 3 on the hook, pull through 2, have 2 on the hook, pull a 3rd one through and have 1 on the hook. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to do a treble, but we're going to pull it from behind. Okay, so I hope you can see that. I haven't gone through any yarn or any cotton. I've just come from behind and I pull it. Okay, now because it's part of a 2-row repeat, it doesn't matter which row I start on. So for the purpose of illustrating, I'm going to come from behind that treble, put it through to have 3 on the hook, and 2, and then 1. Okay, then what I'm going to do is do another treble into the top of the 3rd stitch. Okay, like so. And we do that like that. Okay, so we come from behind, and we come from behind, and we keep working that treble in, and then we look to that one, and pull that through. So at this point, it's forcing our bottom row to create that waffle stitch that we've seen. Now in a moment I'll show you how we end it and why it's important that we just keep it symmetrical. Okay. Now you can begin to see that a blanket like the one I showed you just now will take a fair old length of time to do. I think I was working at around about 100 grams of wool a night, so a ball of wool a night. So that probably took me all in all about a month to complete. And that's pretty focused in the evening. Whereas these, I think probably 2 20-gram balls should be enough for a large face cloth. And that's probably going to end up costing you just over £1. So these actually represent very good value. If you use the Sirdar cotton, or indeed any 100% cotton yarn, you're going to find that they are machine washable. So it kind of makes them the perfect reusable gift. I like them as part of a bigger gift. So obviously if you've already subscribed to our channel, you'll see we do lots of other things with them, face scrubbies or other things like that, so that we can put together whole gifts. So maybe make some homemade coffee granule exfoliator, that kind of thing. Okay, right, so now we've got 2 stitches left. Okay, so you can start to see very basically those 2 being forward has pulled those 2 forward, and that one being behind has kind of pushed that one to the behind. It's not until you turn it around that you actually get a very good idea of what that looks like, and it's an immediate kind of impressive effect. So the last 2 stitches, I'm going to just work into the top of that one. Now this extra little bit is like a little nubbin bit, but you still want to kind of pull it through. Okay, so it's going to need a stitch into it. Now this is not an exact science, and the thing that you might find with it is if you don't get it through fully, it won't make it sort of stand up correctly. So just do a treble into that and then put an extra chain in. Okay, so now we're looking at it like this. We've got to make the decision as to how we want this to sort of carry on, if you like, for want of a better word. So this is the second element of our repeat. We go straight into the top of that stitch as we did in the first row. Okay, so we've got our treble into that one. Now you can see this one is standing proud already, so we come behind it and do our treble from behind. And now we're going to treble into the top of the next 2, Okay, and then we'll come from behind on the next one. And this is our repeat, so there's only 2 different rows that we need to remember. And trust me, by the time you get onto a blanket that size, you will remember. Just my advice would be finish a row before you get up and try and do something else. But I would do a couple of these before trying to tackle a blanket that size, because it is kind of a mammoth task. But definitely a labour of love. And why I end up getting these type of crochet hooks, because they're much more comfortable to use when you're crocheting for 3 or 4 hours a day, non-stop. Okay, so you can see it's starting to take shape now. The thing that I wanted to show you was that this part is almost half of the bit above. Okay, so that is important for when we come to look at how we end it. So if you guys carry on, you'll get to the end and you'll do exactly the same as we've done on every other end. So let's pick this one up closer towards, we've done a few more rows now, okay? So at this point, this one, because of the way we started this one at the bottom is longer than this at the top. So even though it looks roughly a square, I don't want to say I'm a bit of a perfectionist, I'm not at all, but I like the idea that the top and the bottom match. So what I would do at this point is pop it onto the hook. It's already got that extra stitch, that chain one. So now I just come round and I treble into the top, and then this one on top, and then from behind. And what I would do, I would work to complete this as a square. Exactly the same as I'd done for all the other ones before. And you can see this one I started on a slightly different one of my repeats than on the other one. So on this one it's got double at the bottom, whereas this one, we did it earlier, just with a single on the bottom. So simply, you just make sure you had a single at the top and a single at the bottom. There's no real preferred way of doing it, especially when you think it's going to be used as a face cloth. So it's going to be hanging up. So you just work your way through that. And again, if you want to watch this a couple more times, just keep pausing it and repeating it, okay? That's the only way I learn. And also, I might do things slightly differently to another video, so if you like the way I've done it, please do let me know. Similarly, if you don't, you're allowed to let me know as well. Okay, so you keep going with that, and you can see that that now matches what I've got at the bottom. Okay, so I'll pop that to one side for a second. I'll finish that after the video. What I wanted to show you was another little, here's one I made earlier. So this one is the one that I started earlier. That's the same one. It's got half at the bottom and half at the top. Now I personally kind of like that as well. I don't have a preference for either one. But the thing that I think is important for you guys to just bear in mind is that what you're going to want to do is do these in as many different colours as you've got people in the house, so that everyone's got their own unique face cloth. And at this point, I like to chain to pop a hook on it. And always go just that little bit longer than you think, because personally we like to hang them up at home. So turn it around, and then I just slip stitch it back into there. Whoops, it's come back on itself. It wants to be there like that, and slip stitch that in. Obviously not going to do it in front of the camera. Whoops. I say, oh, it's so simple. Okay, and then you can just tie that off. Oops, just slightly frayed. Okay, and then that way, what you've got is very similar to this. You have a little hook there, okay? Now I want to show you, so you cut that all nice and neat. What I want to show you is you then tidy this up by working it back into the stitch. So I'd cut it a little bit more closely, and then I just work it back into the top. And there you have it. This one also would be worked back in to get that nice and tucked in out the way, but also secured. And then you just trim it a bit more. You make sure it's nice and neat. And there you have a perfect eco-friendly cotton face wash, little sort of washcloth. And I'm thinking of making some slightly larger and then sewing them around the edges to make little soap holders so that I can have something in the shower as well. So lots of things you can do with it, but I really did want to end with just showing you this blanket because I just think this is what you can actually achieve. I've seen lots of videos where they show you just the samples, but it's such a lovely versatile stitch, especially with the colour fade wool. So if you do want to have a look at that, please do check out the mini small holder. But you know, all the usual, if you do like the video, subscribe, because that way we know to make more. But thank you ever so much for watching today, and best of luck with it really. Thank you, bye.